Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the GovHack 2020 ACT Region Connections event. Today, we're going to be going through a little bit about the event. We're going to hear from our sponsors and just provide some general information, as well as finishing with the opportunity for us to all jump into a connections event to ask any further questions that you might have to either our sponsors or our mentors. So my name is Joel Anderson, and I'm the ACT State Director for this year. So I'm going to start off by acknowledging that I'm hosting this webinar from the lands of the Ngunnawal people. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all work today, and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this meeting. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and celebrate the diversity of Aboriginal peoples and their ongoing cultures and connections to the lands and waters of Australia. So a little bit about myself. I'm an engineer by trade, graduating from ANU before starting my career with a Canberra-based company called Seeing Machines that used computer vision technologies to understand the driver of a vehicle for a host of applications, including fatigue detection and AR display features. From there, I joined the Canberra Innovation Network, where I facilitated collaborative events and hackathons across Asia and the Pacific before coming to Isobar, where I currently work. So what's the plan for tonight? We're going to talk a little bit about what GovHack is, a little bit of a discussion around open data, the new things that we've got as a part of GovHack 2020, the themes, some helpful hints, and then how you can get connected with the event. So what is GovHack? A hack. A quick or inelegant solution to a particular problem, as described by the Oxford Dictionary. What we actually think it means, though, is to program a computer in a clever, virtuistic, and wizardly manner. Hacking is the domain of digital poets. Hacking is a subtle and arguably mystical art, equal parts wit and technical ability. So GovHack is a festival of ideas. It uses government open data to make our communities a better place. It also provides governments at all levels with the ability to directly engage with a passionate hacker community to find creative and innovative mashups to defined or not so defined civic problems using government agency open data. Our passionate and creative hackers showcase the potential of open data to help solve the challenges facing government and its citizens. So this year's event is a 46-hour hackathon, with the challenges announced at 7 p.m. on Friday. We'll basically look at reusing open government data to ideate, develop a proof of concept, and document a story, which will be displayed in a 3-minute video pitch. So there's been some fantastic innovations out of GovHack over the previous years, and some of our previous participants are back as sponsors with us this time around. We'll also have a lot of mentors and things like that that any of the hackers can access over the course of the weekend. So who are our hackers? Basically anyone. They can be students from primary, secondary, or tertiary education places. They can be public servants, people in the tech industry, freelancers, creatives, data lovers from all ages, all skills, and all skill levels. That's one of the real beauties about GovHack is you don't even have to be a developer to participate. Teams are very diverse, and me as I'm not an extremely good programmer, but I always love participating anyway. So what is open data? Open data is essentially available online. For our purposes, it's defined by this open definition. Open data is data that can be freely used, reused, and redistributed by anyone, subject only at most to the requirement to attribute and share alike. The full open definition gives precise details as to what this means, but to summarize the most important parts, the availability and access. The data must be available as a whole and at no more than a reasonable production cost, preferably by downloading over the internet. The data must also be available in a convenient and modifiable form. It has to have strong reuse and redistribution properties. It must be provided under terms that permit reuse and redistribution, including the intermixing with other data sets. And most importantly, it must support universal participation. Everyone must be able to use, reuse, and redistribute. There should be no discrimination against fields of endeavor or against persons or groups. For example, non-commercial restrictions that would prevent commercial use or restrictions of use for certain purposes, e.g. only in education, are not allowed. So there are currently a whole bunch of different open data sets on the data.gov.au portal. This isn't just a national or federal initiative, but also each state and a lot of the councils have their own data portals, including the ACT government. So these will be displayed to our hackers and participants this year through Hackerspace. As you can see in this image here, they're nicely displayed and you can access any one of them as you go. Inside of Hackerspace, there'll be a name, the description, and a URL there so you can easily access the data. So what's new for GovHack 2020? The digital conference in the lead up to this competition was a new feature for this year. While those have mostly all been completed in the past few weeks, they are still available if you go onto YouTube or onto the Hackerspace page. This year's competition will also feature a treasure hunt. We'll have a set of tasks that encourage participants to explore Hackerspace, sponsor sites, data sets, and then go on the treasure hunt. And if you are successful, you'll receive a badge on your Hackerspace profile page. This year, we also have a new online team formation process. So individuals will register on the Hackerspace before jumping in after the kickoff of the event in Slack under the channel #FindTeam. We'll also be running some team formation activities at a regional level, and everyone will be able to participate and meet each other via Zoom. So this year, the competition is going to be kicking off at 7 p.m, and that's Australian Eastern Standard Time. And we'll be joined with our fellow Australians over in WA, NT in South Australia, who will be starting slightly earlier. So for this year's event, being an entirely virtual event, we're going to be relying heavily on Slack and Zoom. So the Slack channels are available for registration before the event, and you can access these once you've created a Hackerspace page. So the proposed themes for GovHack 2020. We've got resilience and recovery of our communities. Beyond COVID-19, so new ways to work and play. Inclusive and accessible societies. Health and well-being, open science, citizen science, emergency management, Australian bushfires, and Black Lives Matter. Some helpful hints. One of the first hints and things that's very, very common across all hackathons is the makeup of each team. It's best to have multidisciplinary groups of people in every team. Ideally, you would want 4 or 5, and you would want a full distribution of skill sets in there, ranging from programmers / techies, data crunchers, creatives, facilitators, problem solvers, and subject matter experts. I really can't stress this enough that it's very important to have that full spectrum of people in each team. It will allow you to have creative out-of-the-box thinking injected into an area that you might not have particularly thought of engaging with before. So the actual structure of the weekend. So before Friday the 14th, you'll be able to access the treasure hunt and explore the data. At 6 p.m. on Friday the 14th, the opening live stream will start. Well, it'll open for you to be able to come and sit in the live stream, sorry. And at 6:30, it'll actually begin. At 7 o'clock, the competition challenges are announced and the games begin. After 7, you'll be able to explore challenges and related data, speak to mentors, identify potential challenges for your group, brainstorm ideas, and start a project page on Hackerspace. In the ACT, we'll also be running some team forming events, and there's also the ability to jump in that #FindTeam at any point, and we'll help you actually put together a team if you don't have one. So on the Saturday, it's all about brainstorming ideas, locking in your challenges that you want to participate in as a group, taking photos and screenshots of your work throughout, mocking up prototypes, developing these prototypes further, and then making sure you cite any data sets used, particularly if that challenge requires you to use a certain data set. You'll also have to create a storyboard concept video and then update your project page on the Hackerspace. At 7 p.m. on the Saturday night, we're also going to have a live stream game event, which is different for this year, just being a part of the fact that it is all virtual this year. We still want to make sure that we give you guys a break from doing hard work and make it fun and enjoyable. So on the Sunday, it'll be all around finalizing the prototype and filming your concept video. The concept video is what wins GovHack. For those of you who have participated before, this is a 3-minute video that you'll have to submit that contains your mock-up and a little bit about how your solution will work. You need to also take photos and screenshots of the work throughout, because you'll be able to insert these into your video as a part of a story. You then upload this video to YouTube or Vimeo and submit the latest version of the prototype to GitHub or Bitbucket or Dropbox. And you finally have to complete your project page on Hackerspace by exactly the 5 p.m. deadline. That is completely out of our hands. So if you miss the 5 o'clock deadline, we're not going to be able to help you with that, because that's, as I said, completely out of our hands and non-negotiable. So some more helpful hints. The first one would be to make sure you select appropriate challenges. You can also consider how you can align multiple challenges to what your group wants to do. Before you dive too deep into it, make sure you consider all the relevant data sets, and make sure you also engage and talk with the mentors. The mentors are there to help you out. They often have 10 to 20 years of experience in this sector, and a lot of them will probably have been around in GovHack since its inception. So really make sure you engage with those mentors, and we'll have a little bit more about how you can engage and book those mentors released in the coming week. So getting connected. As we've said a few times, this is an all virtual GovHack this year. So our predominant form of communication for this will be via Slack. So as I said, you can join Slack from now, and there's a bunch of different hashtags inside of Slack that we're going to be relying on over the course of the weekend. Hashtag help mentors, hashtag talk, hashtag hack, and then of course talk video. So inside here, there'll be a bunch of mentors sitting in these channels ready to help you out. Likewise, if you do need help or technical support from any of us, you can also engage with us over the course of the weekend through Slack. Everything will be through Zoom, and once your teams are formed, you'll be allocated a Zoom room for your team that you can use over the weekend. So mentors will pop in and out of those Zoom rooms, and you'll also have a team of dedicated facilitators, digital facilitators, that will be with you over the course of the weekend to check in and make sure everything's okay. So with that in mind, we're going to have a few talks tonight from some of our key sponsors for the event. So I'd like to start off the presentations with a short video from our lead international corporate sponsor, Infosys, presented by Andrew Groth, the Senior Vice President and Regional Head of Australia and New Zealand.
I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional owners where I'm coming in from today, the Camaragal people of the Eora Nation. I'd like to thank their elders past and present for looking after these lands and these waters for many, many generations. And I'd like to recognise all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders from wherever you're connecting today. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to this GovHack Connection event. My name is Andrew Groth, and I'm a Senior Vice President with Infosys. I lead our business across the Australia and the New Zealand region. Infosys, we're a global leader in next generation digital services and consulting. We have clients in over 46 countries around the world, and we help those clients navigate their digital transformation journey. Here in Australia and New Zealand, we have almost 6,000 staff working across banks, telcos, government agencies, utilities, working with those organisations to accelerate their digital journeys. And importantly at this time, to provide resilience in the face of a rapidly changing landscape that we're all seeing. We've been involved with GovHack for many years. In fact, this is our 3rd year running that we're proud and honoured to be the lead partner for GovHack. We're committed to help nurture the next generation of digital talent. In fact, our culture of our organisation, our DNA going back nearly 40 years, is one around continuous learning. And GovHack is a great proven model for that continuous learning. The skills that will be developed, the solutions that you will bring, are critical in this country. They're critical to the economic recovery that's going to be so important moving forward. Of course, we're all missing the in-person connect, but I'm looking forward to connecting virtually for this event, and I know all the team at Infosys likewise is looking forward to connecting with you virtually in this environment we're all operating in. You know, despite the challenges, we're all facing. Technology has enabled us to connect and has enabled us to be productive, and in many cases I'd actually even argue to be more productive. For me personally, GovHack has always been a great experience. I've loved meeting so many people, I've seen so many great ideas, and I do hope later in the year we may have the opportunity to meet in person as we go forward. Now, GovHack gives you great opportunities. At this time, it gives you an opportunity to play an important role in addressing the key challenges that we're facing as a country right across Australia and New Zealand. And as you do that, you think about the environment we're in, it's now more critical than ever that you really apply a human-centred approach while you're working on your ideas. So I'd ask you all to keep that in mind. As you go through your ideations and your solutions, what's that human-centred approach? That will be really critical in the ideas and the innovations that we're looking for. At Infosys, we've got some really exciting challenges coming your way, and I'm really looking forward to seeing your ideas as we progress. I'm also really excited this year about our partner UiPath. UiPath is a leading robotics process automation company, and they're providing their software platform to all of you to use. I'd really recommend you use that. In fact, use all the tools that GovHack makes available to you as part of this process. I'll be joining you again at the GovHack virtual launch event on the 14th of August. And in the meantime, I wish you all the very best. Keep learning, keep those great ideas coming, and stay healthy and stay safe. Thank you.
Sorry, that's very classic of the times. If I had $1 for every time I've reminded anyone else on a video call they're on mute, I would have a lot of money. So take two. So our next video coming up is from Michelle Howie, a developer advocate and product specialist from Telstra Dev, who's prepared a short video to discuss the offering for this year's competition.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Howie and I'm from Telstra Dev, Telstra's API and IoT marketplace, and we're one of the national sponsors for GovHack 2020. A little bit about me, just because I'll be one of the mentors during the hackathon this weekend, so you can find me on Slack to ask me anything. I'm the current developer advocate with Telstra Dev, but before that I was in networks engineering at the 5G Innovation Centre. So as an emerging technologist, you can ask me anything about 5G, IoT, APIs, and other tech like AR, artificial intelligence, robotics, and other things like that. I'm really passionate about sharing these technologies with you guys because I think they can be an enabler for some amazing things that will come out of your hackathon solutions. I've also got a bit of a diverse background, interested in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which I think lends well with the themes of GovHack, which is about openness, open data, and using tech for good. And it's not just tech people that can be involved. So you could be a hacker, a hipster, or a hustler. For me, I'm a little bit of all three. So when people think about Telstra, I'm sure the first thing that came to your mind was some phones with internet and SIM cards and things like that. But it's not just phones anymore. Telstra is connecting the Internet of Things. So that's devices from smart glasses to driverless cars, connected vehicles, even parking sensors and smart bins. So it's not just phones anymore, and it's not just connectivity. So here at Telstra Dev, we are Telstra's API and IoT marketplace, where the main thing is APIs giving you access to some of Telstra's core functionality and services. So the key one we have is the messaging API, which lets you send and receive SMS and MMS with just a few lines of code. And what's really cool about this is that Telstra takes care of the infrastructure and complexities beneath those services, so you can focus on just making things. So dev.telstra.com is going to be a great resource for you in completing your hackathon projects. And if you want to know how to get started, if you've never heard about APIs before or the Internet of Things, you're in luck, because as part of GovHack 2020, I did a presentation for the conference a few weeks ago, which has been recorded. So I introduced what is API for people who haven't heard of APIs before, and step by step on how to use this technology. So that'll be really useful if you're going to submit into the Telstra Dev challenges. I won't give too much away, but it will involve using our APIs. So jump onto the GovHack hackerspace to find a link to that event which was recorded. Thank you so much for having me and Telstra Dev as sponsors this year. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me for any questions regarding networks, emerging technologies, and anything that you need to help with your hack solution. You can reach out on the dev.telstra.com forums if you have any questions from that video. Thanks and good luck with your hack.
Cool. And I've successfully managed to unmute myself this time, so that's great, a great success. So next up, it's my pleasure to welcome Ishik Kanir from ACT Government. So they've been one of the biggest players in open data and a massive supporter of GovHack since its inception. They are actively interacting with open data and the community, sharing ideas and publishing high value, high quality open data sets. So Ishik works in the business intelligence community inside ACT Government and has also led the ACT Government Open Data Program, coordinating with different directorates on their open data initiatives, including organising the Open Data Day in Canberra in March 2020. So welcome, Ishik.
Thanks, Joel. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, as Joel said, I'm from the ACT Government, and more specifically, I'm from the ACT Data Analytics Centre. So my team works with staff across the ACT Government to help them manage and use their data assets, and more importantly, manage and promote the use of open data where possible. So the ACT Government has been a proud sponsor of the ACT GovHack event for a number of years now, and we're happy to continue that tradition this year. So what do we love seeing at GovHack? We love seeing the hackers use open data from data.act.gov.au, from the federal data open portal, to essentially come up with data solutions that help improve the well-being of Canberrans. So that's, I think, what we're really looking for this year is in a year where we've had a number of disruptions to the way we live. We've had bushfires, we've had hailstorms in the ACT, and obviously we've had COVID, and we continue to have COVID. We're looking for solutions that will help improve the lives of Canberrans. We will probably be there in numbers, at least 2 to 3 of us from the ACT Data Analytics Centre will be there on the weekend itself to help with, to become data mentors, to answer any questions that people may have about where particular data sets might be on the open data portal, any questions about any metadata fields of the data sets themselves. Hopefully we'll also be able to get someone from our Environment and Planning Directorate who manage our geospatial open data catalogue. And if we can't, we'll also have, we'll make sure we have them on call so we can answer any geospatial type questions. That's probably it from me without saying too much before the actual event. But we are really looking for, we're really looking forward to the event. There's some really interesting themes proposed by the national organising body. And we're really keen to see what the GovHackers can do this year.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ishik. Obviously, it's always hard to not give too much away in regards to the challenges and that kind of thing. So really, really well spoken there. Next up, I would like to introduce Tim Berman from NTT. So as mentioned before, a rich history in GovHack in participation and sponsorship. So welcome, Tim.
Thanks for that. I nearly missed the unmute there, but got it in the end. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. I look after the engineering area of NTT, and we kind of use those engineering solutions and other technical solutions to deliver outcomes for our clients. We strongly believe in putting the user first, so we're always trying to deliver solutions that actually solve users' needs. You might actually know of NTT. We used to be called Oakton, most of us working in Canberra, and now we sort of come under that NTT brand. We decided to participate in GovHack because we've been, doing it for years. Actually, we enjoyed sponsoring in the past, and we've often had teams participating, and it lines up really nicely with our culture to try and solve problems and deliver outcomes. And we strongly believe that technology and data are an enabler to allow those amazing things to be done. When you can combine that technology with a problem and data, like, you can really do great things. Our main area of interest in GovHack is we really want to help get that digital transformation in government. And we love how it shows how much you can actually achieve in a small time frame if you have some creativity and you have people working together towards a goal. And this is what we love to do with our clients, to try and break through some of that stuff and just be a bit more creative and try and deliver outcomes. So we're going to be actually putting in a multidisciplinary team ourselves this year, but we thought we'd love to encourage others to join in by sponsoring as well. And you'll see some of us around the traps, as well as some people mentoring, helping out. Don't want to give too much away about our challenge, but yeah, it's not terribly original. We're trying to help people to come up with ways to help the community recover. As you know, it's been a really tough year from a lot of respects around the world. And yeah, really keen to see what people come up with.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Tim, for that. And also well done on not giving too much away. So next up, we'll just get into a little bit about some of our sponsors. So obviously this event wouldn't be able to happen without our lead corporate international sponsor, Infosys, a global leader in next generation digital services and consulting, who enable clients in 46 countries to navigate their digital transformation. Everyone's probably definitely aware of who AWS is, so they're one of our international sponsors. And then our Australian national agency sponsors, so the Australian Taxation Office, CSIRO, Australian Research Data Commons, and the Department of Education, Skills and Employment. We've also got Telstra Developer and RNet on board as our Australian national sponsors. And helping get the word out are our community partners, #HackAUS. Locally, from an ACT standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do this without our fantastic sponsors, the ACT government, who are providing data sets as well as mentors and challenges across the weekend. So we're very appreciative of them coming on board this year. And we're also great to have NTT along as a state silver sponsor this year as well. We've also got Isobar as an event sponsor, providing a spot for the digital facilitators and mentors to hang out over the weekend. So that's going to be great because we'll actually be able to be together as a team, of course, obeying the 1.5 meter COVID limitations there. So that's pretty much the end of that information session. Thank you very much for the sponsors and the speakers tonight for coming on to give us a little bit of an overview about the event. So now I guess we're going to open it up as an opportunity for other people to jump into the Zoom call as well. If anyone out there has any questions at all, you can join the conversation tonight on Zoom by going to govhack.org/ACT-connections. And so anyone who goes to that will be allowed to come into the Zoom room with us, and we'll hang around for a little bit to talk about, any questions that you really want to ask. Cool, thank you.